The expansion just launched and there's too much stuff. So let's talk about what you should do to get started with the War Within adventure and prepare for Season 1. Obviously, the first thing you will end up doing is leveling. There isn't much to say here that wouldn't go into a leveling guide, which this video isn't. Similar to the past 2 expansions, the leveling will be linear the first time you do it, while your alts will be able to choose what zone they want to tackle first. If there is one thing we recommend is that you actually finish the main campaign to be able to unlock other aspects of the game and general systems. You will also need to do side quests or spam some dungeons because simply doing the campaign will not get you to level 80. We recommend side quest lines and there are some specific ones you will be interested to do, but more on that later in the video. For now, we would like to thank the sponsors of this video, which are our Patreons. YouTube makes it annoying to do all of the type of videos that we want and the ones you also want, and with the support of our Patreons, we can squeeze one of these videos every so often. If you thought about supporting your boys to keep doing their thing, consider clicking the link below to go to patreon.com/Marcelian online and join the team. On top of supporting us, there are a bunch of cool stuff that only Patreons get as a thank you from us for making it possible to do all cool videos. So thanks a lot. Now back to leveling. If you are playing a new or boosted character, you will likely get a bunch of gear upgrades from doing the quests. However, if you are playing your Dragonflight main, assuming you got close to max eye level before the expansion released, don't worry much about your gear since you will likely only start replacing your items with level 76 and onwards, since level 75 content still drops 518 eye level, which is Dragonflight level gear. However, once you hit level 80, you can start unlocking Explorer gear, starting with 558 eye level and higher. Another big feature of the expansion is the Warband, and there's really only one thing you need to do, which is the Gadgets and quest line to unlock the portable bank. Oh, and maybe sell your kidney to afford the tab unlock costs, which costs a total of 3.126 million gold for all 5 of them. And just to clarify, since a lot of people still have this misconception, the Warband isn't your 4 favorite tunes you decided to have in this super sweet character selection screen. These 4 are just an aesthetic choice. Maybe in the future we can fit more than just 4, but for now, know that your Warband is your entire account across all servers, so any Warband-wide feature will apply to all of your tunes. There are some restrictions to what can be shared between characters, with the barriers likely slowly lifted as we play the expansion. Renown reps, certain gear, achievements, and more will be shared, and when they are available, the game will likely tell you through the tooltips or dialogue options, so don't stress too much on it. And enjoy, something we have been asking for over a decade. At the moment of recording this, it is not yet clear exactly when the Earthen will be accessible, considering the devs mentioned they want the race to be unlocked once we have befriended the faction, implying it cannot be right away. However, we know what you need to do to unlock these once they are available, which might still be day 1. The new race are essentially the Titan-forged Earthen that the Curse of Flesh corruption evolved them into the dwarfs of today. The Earthen, though, are fucking swole. They are bigger than dwarfs, made out of stone, with a testosterone level so high their women can grow beards, just like in Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. Anyway, to unlock them, you first have to finish the main story, which we recommended you do, if you recall just a couple of seconds ago, and a series of side quest lines, which we also recommended you do in the leveling section. The quest lines are Hope, an Anomaly, and Morning Rise, both present in the Isle of Dorn, and Broken Tools in the Ringing Deeps. Whenever you pick up a quest from these particular quest lines, it will tell you it's required to complete so you can unlock the allied race, like the Discarded and Broken quest with its subsequent quest line. At the end of this, we are supposed to have a scenario which is still unknown up to this point, but as with anything in the game, it's likely to show up in your quest log as a pop-up you cannot ignore. As you level, you will notice you gain hero talents. This is a feature you don't really need to know anything about outside what you see. It's just talents, and you get to choose which hero talent tree you have, with a swap in between being as simple as changing your actual talents. You'll be able to unlock all of your hero talents as you level up, so you don't need to worry about putting them in the wrong nodes. Enjoy the new class fantasy and flavor, and don't stress it too much. Also, as you level, you will unlock delves, actually really early, like in your first maybe 30 minutes of playing. We recommend you actually unlock them, especially if you are not interested in bomb rushing to max level. Delves will likely be a significant part of your gearing experience before and after season starts, not to mention the content is really fun. Before the season starts, you will only have access to the first 3 tiers and their rewards, each harder than the previous ones. Once Season 1 starts, you will unlock the rest, with Tier 8 giving you the max level gear you can acquire from here. On top of gear, the delves are a great source of cosmetics and cool items. First of all, you can also loot sparks from the delves, which are required for crafting gear. Second, you'll have bountiful delves, which are basically delves with extra loot. Delves are basically mini dungeons combined with a scenario. You have some unique objectives for each delve, with some affixes that make it more challenging as you increase the tier. To assist you along the way is Bran, with his own skills and passives that you unlock and slot in. You can make him focus on healing or dealing damage depending on what you need, and unlocking his abilities makes the run smoother and faster. Also, the delves can be done with your friends. The end reward is basically a series of chests based on the conditions of the delve and if you completed the objectives. The base eye level goes to 554 for a tier 3 delve, but you can also loot 571 eye level adventure gear if the delve is a bountiful one, which is the same track of gear you can get from heroic dungeons, aka the highest level of items obtainable prior to the season starting. So if you don't vibe with dungeons, this is a great alternative. More on gearing later in the video. One thing to pay attention to, especially after reaching max level, is the quest Bountiful Delves, which essentially gets you to do these Giga Delves in the first place, unlocked from Bran Bronzebeard in the main capital city. The reason this should be 10,000% your goal is because it rewards you with the Delves dirigible mount. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know, I'm Romanian, I don't speak natural English. Not only is this a really cool mount, this will essentially be another progression for your delving experience, where you unlock customizable options for it and make it your own unique mount. On top of the undercoins, which is the currency to unlock delve rewards and other stuff, you want to keep your eyes open for coffer key shards, which can be combined to make a restored coffer key. Without a proper key, you cannot open a bountiful chest. The shards can be found from world quests and general outdoor content, so make sure you always have enough to open some bountiful chests. Once you get your reputation to level 10 with the assembly of the deeps, you can buy the keys from the Quartermaster for 650 resonance crystals, which is a generic currency you get from the War Within content or from Sir Finley Myrtleton. I will mention dungeons for the sake of completion, but not much to do here outside spamming them for gear if you want to get ready for Season 1. A few tips, however, that you may not know if you haven't engaged with the beta content yet, tips that may save you a whole bunch of wipes. If you want to explore the dungeon mechanics for yourself, you can ignore this. There are only 3 dungeons that stand out with gimmicks that are not common. Dawnbreaker would be the first, where you can actually skyride, the updated version of dragonflying. You will be doing this throughout the dungeon, but also during the first and last boss encounters. Particularly with the first boss, once it transitions to the middle of the ship and starts casting the big dark sphere, you gotta haul ass quick and stay in the air until it explodes. The last boss also transitions from the ship to the last phase, where you have to chase it with your mount, and this is where the darkness mechanic comes in. You can see one of 2 debuffs. The darkness one is a timer, and if it reaches 0, you die, and you cannot immune it. However, if you stay near the blimp or fly through the yellow orbs that also give you vigor, your light debuff that keeps you alive will refresh. Similarly, the Dark Flame Cleft dungeon has a darkness mechanic. Here it will not kill you, but it will reduce your vision a lot. and make you deal almost no damage to your enemies. You always have to be in the light of the candle here. While you traverse the dungeon, your candle light will go out, so you want to refresh it by picking more from the sides. What you need to know is that once you step into the darkness to get some, you also cannot see the terrain anymore, and there are holes you can fall into, so you know, don't. Lastly, City of Threads. After you beat the first boss, you need to find 4 imposters by smelling their pheromones, ew, which in-game shows as these ghosts that pop up. The ghosts always face the path you need to go through as you reveal more and more of them. Just remember that so you don't waste a lot of time trying to figure out what to do. Last but not least, once the season starts, Mists of Tyrna's Scythe will be back in the roster with its shitty puzzle. There are still people with no idea how to do it without a weak aura, but it's really simple. The puzzle is basically a series of symbols that indicate the correct way or the wrong way. The correct way is indicated by the symbol that is the odd one out. All symbols have something in common amongst themselves, with the exception of one of them. They are either all the same floral symbol, either all colored, either all empty, or all with a circle or without a circle. Whichever symbol does not share the common trait with the rest is the one you need to choose to either get the correct path or to uncover the right clone of Mist Color. These are the less intuitive gimmicks you might want to know, with the rest being just straightforward dungeon mechanics you will 100% be able to figure out 100% of the time. Have fun! As for the professions, very little changed from Dragonflight that will decide what you do with it. The best advice is to get started as soon as possible, since collecting profession knowledge is still a thing to level up your recipes and craft your ideal items. Sure, some stats changed and some recipes changed, of course, because it's a new expansion, but that's not really something that we can talk about in a what to do type video unless we just make a profession guide, which other content creators already did. We actually recommend you get a profession yourself, or at the very least prepare crafting materials for the crafted items, which will likely be decently strong and go for as high as 636 eye level, just 3 eye levels lower than the end mythic raid loot. And a quick mention here, the new engineering mount is cool as fuck and also giga expensive to make. The Crowd Pummeler should be usable in combat, to be fair, based on its name, but the cost can range in the millions, so if it's something you are interested in getting, gotta keep that in mind. Also, anything relating to gems might be pretty big. Jewel crafting comes to mind, but likely prospecting to be specific, since earthens need to eat gems as food consumables. Now, this might not mean much, but it could be some source of obscure gold making. Gearing is going to be limited when the expansion opens up, and that is important to know so you don't get caught off guard. Early access people will only do dungeons up to normal level, with heroic dungeons being open at the full global release of the expansion. Our advice is to get into heroic dungeons as quickly as you can if you want to optimize your gearing. Mythic dungeons will not be available right away. As such, until Season 1 starts, your max gear will be from the Adventurer track, with dungeons giving you 4 out of 8 upgraded Adventurer gear to 580 eye level. Delves will be limited at Tier 3 and reward a base of 554 eye level, with Bountiful Delves giving you 571 eye level gear. That's Adventurer 1 out of 8 track. So either way, you can get the same gear, you just need to upgrade the Delves one more than the dungeon ones. Another thing to look out for is the World Elite quest, which from our testing showed up after completing 3 world quests, but that might change on release. Regardless, once you have this quest, do it, since it rewards 584 item level veteran gear. Our guess is this only pops up once the season starts, since it would be the only source of veteran gear prior to Season 1. When the season starts on September the 10th, the first week will open up LFR, Normal and Heroic Nerubar Palace, together with Mythic Dungeons, World Boss and seasonal heroic dungeons like Mists of Tyrna's Scythe, Necrotic Wake, Siege of Borealis and Grimbo Toll as well. For the first week, the best way to gear will be from raids, since Mythic Zero dungeons will only reward veteran gear, while Normal and Heroic Nerubar Palace will give champion and hero gear respectively. During the season, Delves will be fully unlocked, but the gear caps at Tier 8, which rewards 603 item level champion gear. The important part is the vaults, however, which will reward you with hero track gear if you have filled it up with Tier 7 and 8 delves. Mythic Plus will only be available the following week, starting with September the 17th, the same time Mythic Narrow Bar opens up. As such, the raid eye level loot table looks something like this. As far as the vault goes, it will be similar as in the past expansions, where the eye level will coincide with the difficulty of the bosses you cleared. The Mythic Plus eye level breakdowns will look something like this. Obviously, the vault will reward you higher item level gear, which caps at +10s, giving you myth track with 1 out of 6 progression. Depending on your skill level, the keys you will be interested in doing is minimal +3 for the end of the week hero gear. However, the higher the level, the fewer crests you will need to upgrade the items, considering the crests will be limited. Ideally, the best key to do if your gear is to get max eye level is still a 10 to skip the entire hero track. But in terms of farming crests, that's a whole other topic for another video. But hey, we did not forget the delve pushers. A round down of vault rewards for the delves will look like this. Once again, considering the upgrade materials will be capped, we recommend doing tier 8 delves to skip 2 of the hero tracks when upgrading it. But if that is not your concern, then you have unlimited time to upgrade your gear and want to take it chill, you can do lower tiers, of course. In summary, to gear in the War Within, we recommend to do these in order. First 2 weeks, aim to clear as many heroic dungeons and as many bountiful tier 3 delves to fully be equipped with adventurer gear and set your next week's vault as best as you can. Look out for the weekly elite quest in case it pops up before the season starts for a chance of veteran gear. If not available, definitely do it after September the 10th. The third week, when the season starts, clear all of the Mythic Zero dungeons for veteran gear as well as the first LFR wing, particularly for a chance at the tier token that drops on the third boss. The world boss will have a chance to drop champion gear, another thing to look out for. Ideally, push your rating as high as you can, since heroic will be your best source and only source of hero gear. On the 17th of September, M Plus will open up, which rewards hero gear from +7s and higher. Myth gear only comes the following reset from the vault, only if you have completed +10s in those slots. And of course, if you are a Mythic raider, hop into Mythic as soon as you can for the only source in the game of immediate Myth track gear. And that's it to get you started on your journey. There are always more stuff to do in the game more efficiently, and if there's something you want to see a video about, put it in the comments and make sure it's not about mains, since we already made that video right here and like 5 others. Well, it's basically Marcelian and I talking about why we picked what we ended up picking in the end.